Welcome back to the deep dive. This is where we take those operational briefings, the white papers, and all the research you send our way, and we really try to turn it into something actionable, crystal clear insight.
Right.
And today, we are strapping in for a deep dive into the practical reality of collaboration in the Web3 music space. Forget all the usual noise, the token prices, the abstract concepts. We're focusing on the gritty, hands-on work.
That's absolutely right. I think the mission for you, the listener today, is to really get what happens behind the scenes. When two of these Web3 entities, the Ushkee Network and creative organization DAO, actually try to build something.
And test it.
And test it. We're moving completely past the hype. Yeah. This is all about the hands-on work and those specific operational improvements that's what makes the difference between a paper and a product.
Okay, so let's set the stage then. We need to know who these key players are. Let's start with creative organization DAO. They're the infrastructure builder here.
That's a good way to put it. They're a Web3 native creative ecosystem. So think music, creators, decentralized tools.
And when we say DAO, we're talking about the entity that governs the platform, manages the treasury, sets the rules. They're providing the chassis.
Exactly, the chassis. And then Ushkee, their collaborator, is not another infrastructure project. They are, let's call it, the practical application layer.
Okay.
They focus on cultural integration, community coordination, and this is the crucial part. They're basically the dedicated QA team. They stress test Creative's tools in a real-world setting.
So they're not just thinking about it, they're actively breaking things on purpose.
On purpose, yeah, to make sure the final product is actually usable for, the average person.
Okay, let's unpack this. So let's start with the product that actually brought them together, because this is where the whole change in behavior is really engineered.
We're talking about Jukebox. That's Creative's music discovery and engagement application, is where the infrastructure really meets the user.
And the sources we looked at, they make it really clear this thing is designed to disrupt the passive consumption model, the one that just dominates Web 2 streaming.
Right.
My immediate takeaway was that Jukebox is intentionally, it's friction heavy, but in a good way.
Yeah.
You're not just pressing play and zoning out.
No, it's designed entirely for active participation. And that is a huge shift in the relationship between the listener and the creator.
So what does that active participation look like?
Well, that's the critical design philosophy. Listeners have, I think, 3 main ways to engage that go way beyond just listening. First, you discover new music, obviously.
Of course.
Second, and this is about direct empowerment, you can tip artists directly using the platform's native token. And third, you have the option, and this is the really new part, to get involved in prediction markets around specific songs.
Okay, that right there, that's the aha moment that changes the game. In the old music economy, the only signal that matters is, passive attention?
Yeah.
How many millions of streams?
Yep, a vanity metric.
And Jukebox shifts that signal completely. It makes financial support and confidence a quantifiable part of listening. You're not just saying, I like this track.
No, you're actively putting skin in the game, either with a tip or a prediction market position that basically says, I believe this track is going to get more popular.
So let's slow down on that prediction market detail, because I think that's where people can get lost.
Yeah, we should. So if you engage in a prediction market, you are, in essence, betting on the future success of a song. If that song does well, it gets traction, tips, more engagement. The people who bet on it, they get rewarded.
And the artist.
And critically, the artist also gets automatic rewards that are tied directly to the activity of their prediction market.
Okay, but let's introduce some friction, because this is where skepticism always comes in with Web3, right? Mm-hmm. If you link rewards to these financial instruments, what stops someone from manipulating it?
That is the crucial question.
Like a bad actor trying to pump a market, or worse, betting against an artist to make money if they fail.
Right. And the governance model of the DAO is built to address that. So first, the prediction markets are tied to real engagement metrics inside Jukebox, not just some external price.
Oh, yeah.
Second, the rewards flowing to the artist are automatic and proportional to the overall activity on the market, which stabilizes their benefit. The goal isn't to create some volatile trading thing. It's about creating a verifiable, transparent value flow based on collective belief in the art.
Which is just a massive leap from the opaque royalty statements you get from Web 2 platforms.
That was a different world.
So if I get this right, the market activity itself acts like a kind of continuous royalty stream. It supplements the direct tips.
It does. It contextualizes why changing that incentive signal, from just attention to active support is so crucial.
Because attention is cheap.
It's cheap, it's easily manipulated, and it's a low-value commodity that almost never translates into real income for the creator. When you add tipping and prediction markets, you instantly align the financial incentives of the listener with the creators.
The listener now has a stake in the song's success.
Exactly. The structure rewards belief, it rewards demonstrable support, and it creates a transparent value flow that just doesn't exist in traditional streaming.
It's not a passive pipe anymore. It's a reciprocal investment loop.
Yeah.
But building that is incredibly hard.
How hard?
And that brings us right to our second segment. Ushkee's role. They weren't just thinking about this lip, they were making sure the wires actually connected.
And this is where it all stops being theoretical and gets really operational. Ushkee's role was, hyper practical. They were the team focused on testing, breaking, and improving.
And for anyone building in Web3, that is the most valuable step, right? Finding the real-world choke points.
It's everything.
But testing an ecosystem sounds a little vague. What specifically were they breaking?
Okay, so they focused on 3 areas where new users just universally fail. They tested the tipping experience. Is it fast? Does it clear? They explored the prediction markets firsthand, not just placing bets, but checking the payout structure, the settlement process. And crucially, they stress-tested the onboarding and wallet connections.
Oh, that's the big one.
The biggest. They were trying different wallets, different browsers, different chains.
And I bet that hands-on work immediately surfaced those painful, specific friction points that, you might miss in the design phase.
Yeah.
Wallet compatibility, entry thresholds.
Exactly. Let's just take wallet compatibility. You might build a system that works perfectly with wallet A, but like 60% of your potential users are on wallet B, C, or D.
And if the connection fails or needs 3 extra clicks, they're gone.
Immediately. They churn. So Ushkee found those specific software conflicts and gave real-time, actionable feedback to creative on how to simplify all those connection protocols.
And the entry threshold. That's a related problem, isn't it? Getting into a Web3 platform can be a nightmare. Buying a token, bridging it somewhere, paying gas fees.
It's a high wall to climb.
Only crypto natives are going to bother.
That's what they had to fix. Ushkee tested and gave feedback on optimizing that whole user journey to minimize the crypto knowledge you needed beforehand. Their whole collaboration really exemplifies this core philosophy. You test, you break things, you improve them. That painful process is what makes Web3 accessible.
I really appreciate that focus. So many platforms get the front-end gloss right, but forget the back-end pain of just getting in. But speaking of getting in, that leads to the next big question they had to answer.
Yeah.
The accessibility challenge for the creator.
Yeah, and the question that came up was so simple but so profound. How do artists actually get their music into this ecosystem without these huge barriers?
Because if it's too complicated or too technical or too expensive for an indie musician, then the whole decentralized infrastructure is useless. There's no content.
Exactly. It's a classic dilemma. Web2 distribution is simple and cheap, but you lose ownership. Web3 offers ownership, but it can be super complex and expensive because of minting costs.
So how do they solve the upload problem?
Yeah. They set up a functioning upload pipeline using Spinamp. And this is key because it addresses the financial pain point directly. The source makes a big deal about Spinamp being one of the few Web3 music platforms that lets artists upload and sell music at accessible price points.
Okay, let's define accessible price points. What were they trying to avoid?
They were trying to avoid those really punishing gas fees and complex upfront minting costs. If an independent artist has to spend 50 or $100 just to mint their song before they've earned a dime.
It's a non-starter.
Total non-starter. Spinamp provides that necessary low-cost, smooth on-ramp. It lowers the barrier to entry way below traditional distributors, but still gives you all the Web3 functionality.
And to really validate this, they went the extra mile. The founder of Ushkee, J Classic Maestro, who's a music producer himself,
right,
he personally uploaded his own debut instrumental track, One More Time.
And this was not a promotional stunt. It was an essential functional test. He had to prove the system works end-to-end.
From clicking upload.
All the way through Spinamp, confirming the metadata, to the music being live, indexed, and fully discoverable on Jukebox. Ready for tips, ready for the prediction market.
That focus on realistic artist onboarding. That's the core success indicator. If the system can't handle one indie producer testing the flow, it can't handle a wave of creators.
It grounds the whole abstract concept in a human process. Success isn't measured by the tech. It's measured by whether J Classic Maestro had a smooth experience. That's the metric that matters.
Absolutely.
And that's the foundation for a sustainable content flow.
Okay, let's transition now to the big picture for those creators, the benefit structure. So the music is live on Jukebox. Why should an artist stay? Low upfront costs are great, but why is this better financially than, say, Spotify or Bandcamp?
So the benefits are structured to provide financial redundancy, which Web 2 models just don't have. We talked about the three core levers. First, that instant direct income from tips.
Simple. Support equals direct cash flow.
Right. Second, artists benefit from general platform engagement. When people share their music, add it to playlists, listen again and again, those activities drive rewards back to the creator.
Okay.
And third, they get those automatic rewards from the prediction markets tied to their songs, which, as we said, is basically a continuous royalty stream based on community confidence.
So instead of one single low-value revenue stream, the royalty, the artist now has three distinct financial levers, each one tied to a different user behavior, direct support, general activity, and collective belief.
And that structure is what really represents a meaningful shift in creator compensation.
And ownership.
And ownership, yeah.
Yeah.
It's moving away from those opaque, frustrating royalty structures where the creator has almost no control and very little visibility into how their money is calculated. Here, it's transparent, it's verifiable, and it's right there next to the act of consumption.
So beyond the platform, beyond the payments, the sources also point to a pretty fascinating cultural element in this partnership. They aren't just building infrastructure.
No, they're using it to produce actual cultural output, content. This is Ushkee's cultural integration layer, and it's so critical for driving real traffic back to Jukebox.
And what are they doing?
They're developing a city-based rap cipher concept. This is high-quality, focused performance content, the kind of stuff that's compelling and highly shareable.
And I love the structure they defined for it. One artist, one song, one location.
It's so clean, right? So focused. It's immediately positionable for media, which creative can then use to showcase the artists already on Jukebox.
So Ushkee's role here is logistics and cultural product placement.
Purely. Artist coordination, organization, content creation, and they're promoting cultural consistency with Ushkee merch. The mandate is, again, motion over noise. They're using the platform to make real-world stuff happen, then funneling that attention back into Jukebox.
Which naturally leads to the question that always hangs over Web3 projects, especially cultural ones.
Yeah.
Where do the NFTs and rewards fit in? Is that the whole point?
And the source is crystal clear on this. The NFTs and rewards are not the headline. They are explicitly defined as the support layer.
The support layer. Okay, so let's be very precise for the listener here. What are the NFT holders actually funding?
They are funding the labor needed to solve the problems we just talked about. Their support translates directly into the budget for Ushkee to do the real testing, the wallet fixes, the entry threshold improvements, and to fund real cultural output, like filming the ciphers.
So the relationship is based on recognizing the people who help make the motion happen.
Right, rather than just encouraging speculation on some theoretical future reward, it's tying community support directly to tangible, measurable progress and cultural production.
An investment in the process, not just the potential outcome.
Yeah.
That's a fundamentally different alignment than a lot of NFT projects.
Precisely. It provides a clear bridge between a digital token and physical world content and, user experience improvements.
So if we connect this to the bigger picture, this whole collaboration between Ushkee and Creative feels like a functional blueprint. A blueprint for building a real practical bridge between Web 2 music culture performance, content, output, and Web 3 tools.
Which are all about ownership, transparency, and diversified compensation.
Yeah.
And that summarizes the reciprocal value perfectly. Ushkee gives creative essential services, real user testing, accessibility improvements, realistic artist onboarding. They make sure the platform is usable.
And in return, Creative gives Ushkee the functional infrastructure, the new monetization paths for artists, and the room to experiment and grow their cultural footprint with a reliable distribution channel.
It's a true partnership. It's built on complementary operational needs where both sides just handle what they do best.
And the single most important takeaway, using the source's own language, is that this isn't finished. It's moving.
Real tools, real artists, real motion. That emphasis on constant, ongoing motion and functional testing rather than just static speculation, that is the definition of success for infrastructure building right now.
Absolutely. The work is ongoing, and that constant testing, that's the real job.
Yeah.
This is a fantastic deep dive into the operational reality of Web3 music. It really gives you a clear blueprint of what actual progress looks like.
And it raises an important question, doesn't it? If sustained practical testing and real cultural output are definitively more valuable to an ecosystem than just hype and speculation.
Then what?
Well, what other traditionally hyped Web3 sectors, decentralized finance, gaming, supply chain tools might fundamentally benefit from adopting this motion over noise approach? How many failures could be prevented by just prioritizing the testing phase over the launch phase?
That's the challenge for the builders right now. Moving from theory to a tested reality. Thank you for joining us for the deep dive. We hope this has given you a much clearer, actionable understanding of what successful Web3 collaboration looks like on the ground. Until next time, keep exploring.